Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where as promised, we're a ways forward here from the last episode. The last episode was what, like late 1950s? Maybe like 1960? We've gone ahead quite a lot. There's no doubt about that. So what have we done in this time? Well, primarily this. We built infrastructure. Basically nothing else happened. We built infrastructure. I did go around off camera and queue up all of the naval bases that pre-existed up to level 10. And that is what is being constructed right now as we speak. But what I wanted to do this episode is work on our supply networks everywhere else on the mainland here. So that is going to be our goal here for this episode. I'm not concerned about islands like Greenland, Iceland. I'm not concerned about Great Britain, anything down here. That's all fine. We'll leave that be. And you can see here we're ticking forward at actually a reasonable speed with the construction pane open. So the idea here is we are going to build supply hubs in a bunch of places. So we're going to space these out a little bit, but they're going to be somewhere around... I don't want them to be adjacent to supply hubs or each other. So we're going to have them be something kind of along the lines of this out here. So we'll put them, say, up this direction, and we'll also link them up with railroads once we're done with the continent here. The deeper the blue here, the more we're going to need it. So we could think about one over here for sure. And note that I'm queuing these up at the bottom of the priority. So that'll be absolutely fine. We'll queue one up over here, one up like over this way, one over this way. A lot of this is covered by our naval bases on the coasts. So we don't need to do too much coastal work here. But we might want to have one over here. No, that is actually adjacent. So I think this will be okay. We could put it here, but I don't like this positioning. No, I think that we'll just put it up over this direction. That'll be fine. We can also see up over this way, we have a bit of a paucity of naval bases, right? So we're just going to queue up some stuff out over this direction, kind of broadly following the shape of the continent here. But we're not looking to have this be like just a ridiculous construction it's a ridiculous construction project. I realized that as I was saying that, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be a pretty major undertaking. There's no doubt about that. But I definitely wanted to do at least some of this on camera. So we'll get this all set up for Africa here. Not that we're really expecting to do too much fighting in Africa, to be clear. But this all up here seems reasonably fine. Now, this is maybe not going to be as finely put together as some of the stuff out over here is, right? This is very intense in terms of the supply in this situation. We could definitely fill in some of these areas a little bit more, but this is overkill. We're not going for quite that much, but we want to have decent supplies in Africa in case fighting breaks out here. So we'll just have this set up over here. Honestly, we can mostly get away with having hubs inland because we do have a large amount of naval bases over here. And we're definitely going to need to work on some rail lines. There's no doubt about that. It looks to me like we could use a supply hub rather here, and then more supply hubs up this direction, but the number of them is going to be somewhat low-ish in these areas. Somewhat low-ish. So we're just kind of building a few here and there in potentially troublesome spots. And there we go. We'll call that good for Africa. That should, in theory, do the trick. And now we're going to need to build railways. And this is going to be interesting. So our first set of railways that we're going to do is just going to be along the coast, linking up all of these naval bases. That's going to be the idea here. And we'll just bring this on up, linking naval base to naval base, kind of like this. Oh, I'm building these on the top. I'm not actually intending to do that. Let's move them down. I wanted to, I believe, shift-click to build the maximum level, but I was also holding control to put them at the beginning of the queue. We don't want that, so just shift. Okay, so we're building up the coast, and for now, that's all we're queuing up. We will come back and revisit some of this, but for now, this'll do. Well, we'll come back and revisit this as soon as we're done with this section, to be clear. So we'll just make our way on up here. And we may want to do this, like, the entire, like, mega continent over. Like, the entire mainland, right? That is something we could definitely think about doing. I want to queue this up to here. There we go. It did not want to take that for the moment, but it's okay. We're just going to continue to move this on over and just get all of the coastline queued up here. That is our current only goal. Of course, while we're doing this, all of those naval bases are working on their construction, which will be fine. Now, these railways are not going to take too long to construct. I'm expecting them to be fairly swift. The naval bases, on the other hand, that will take a while. But that'll probably be, what, like another 3 years or so? We should have plenty of time to get all this queued up. And then I'll probably let this run off camera for a while again. We'll see. We'll see what that timing is ending up looking like. We definitely are a bit concerned about going to war at this juncture. There's no doubt about that. We want to come out over here and then over to here. There we go. Cool. If war were to break out right now, problems would ensue for us because our infrastructure basically, well, our infrastructure exists. Our supplies, our logistics on the mainland are basically non-existent. So it's a bit of a problem, no doubt about that. But we'll just get this all linked up for the time being. And this is looking reasonable. Cool. Of course, Europe is going to be kind of its own thing. Asia will, to some degree, be, in fact, to quite an extreme degree, be faster than Europe will. We definitely want to link up something like this will do. And let's link this up over this way and then in over here. Cool. Link these two hubs together, something like this. And then we can bring this on up. This can come over from here and then connect in down here as well as like over to here. Cool. I wouldn't mind this linking up over that direction and then up over to this hub. We're just trying to create some logistics areas, right? That's pretty much all we're looking to do here. And areas that we can get around reasonably quick. So we'll bring this down over this direction like so. Hook it up here. And hook that in here. It's looking good. This can come up over this direction over here, which can then be linked into that. I wouldn't mind having this come down like so. Cool. And then this guy can link up somewhere over, well, I don't like bringing this over here. I feel like we're probably missing a hub here, to be honest. So we'll link that in. And then we'll connect that up. Something like that. Sure, and then that can connect up here as well. Cool. So that should be fine. We come up over this way. Form kind of a great circle here, but then bisect that like so. Very rough in terms of the shapes, but it'll do. Connect that in over here. Cool. Have this branch out to there and connect that in. Basically, each one of these hubs, I want to be connected to at least two other hubs. That's the goal here. So we come up over here and then connect here. There we go. We can come in here, connect that over here. And this one is really very centrally located and can really connect to 4. Something like that. We connect this down this way. That can connect there. And then this can come up to the coastline, something along the lines of this. And then this guy can, of course, connect here, as well as coming down like that. Okay. We can get a bit of a railway web network going on over here. This connects in about like that, and that looks good. Then, out over here, we definitely want a like railway line connecting all the way up like so. I do want to bring this in here, and ideally this down to here. There we go. Connecting up that direction and like that. Okay, that's all looking pretty decent logistically. And then we bring that in something like this. I feel like we're missing a hub up here, but I don't think we actually are. So that'll be fine. This can then connect up here, which can then connect over to the coastal railway. And then we can have like a parallel railway coming out over here where each of these then juts over. And that'll be kind of the plan for everything along this side that's not connected to the main coastal railway. So we'll have one come out over here like that, and then that'll jut over. Cool. Connected kind of like this. And then that joins up with the main railway. And just kind of like that. Fantastic. And then this railway will connect down over here. We've just about got Africa done now. And that can all combine together at that point. And then it branches back out over here to connect in here, I guess. Sure. But that would then jut down over this way. And then this guy would come down over here in kind of an awkward fashion. And then come down over to here. Oh, that's actually quite awkward, the path that took. But sure, that'll do. And then that connects over to there, which then itself juts down and connects down here. That should do the trick for Africa. Okay, so that's obviously going to take a while to construct all of that. There's no doubt about that one. And some of this isn't in our territory necessarily, but that's fine. I'm not too concerned about that. Next up, we should definitely be concerned about this stuff out over here. That's very obvious, but I want to kind of just work our way over like one region at a time. So at this point, we'll get like this area over here demarcated by like this line right about here or so. So let's just get Saudi Arabia done for right now. I guess that's my point. We'll build about here, about here. This hub will, of course, eventually get upgraded. So that's fine for now. We'll skip that, and we'll build about here or so. And then somewhere up here, about here. And just slowly working our way up this area. About here. Probably there or so. I wish that we could see through our giant name here. The giant name is kind of a problem at this moment, but it does feel good to have a name that big. So I guess there's that. So we'll get all of this queued up, and we're just going to go up to like the Caucasus here. That'll be fine. So we'll just queue a hub about here, and then a hub around here. Call that good for this region for the moment. Again, we're not really expecting to have any major fighting over here. So we can build some hubs along these regions. Something kind of like this. Europe is going to be a pretty extensive area to build in. I don't want it there, actually. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay, there we go. I had to pause the game to get rid of it, but I wanted it here instead. Okay, so I don't like that location. We'll build it here instead. And then we'll build like here. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough to supply these areas, right? So we'll call that good for the Mideast area. Cool. I mean, I suppose you could argue that the Mideast area goes out this way as well, but for now we're not concerned about that. So let's get our railways queued up for this area. We definitely want this to be linked into this African railway. There's no doubt about that. And we'll just hook up, once again, all of our naval bases that are in this area. We'll just hook into there for now. And this should be fine. Once we get all of this logistics built, then we can definitely go to war. And that will be really, really good for us. So our next naval base is, of course, going to be all the way up over here. So we're going to have to, like, connect a daisy chain of these hubs. But that's okay. There we go. And we'll come up over this direction. Link in, for now, over to this naval base. And then we'll just kind of double back and connect into this railway network, which is awkward, but functional. And then we'll head down over this direction and grab the Anatolian shipyards. Or I guess naval bases. So there we go. It's going to be a few more of these. Actually, this is not going to be grabbed here. It's on the other side of the strait there. Okay. So we'll just link these up something like that. I guess ending here is fine. And this should then be linked in over here. Cool. This can then come up here, which connects something kind of like that. And we just want to get all of these linked up, right? So we can connect in something kind of like this, and then that can come over here and over like so. We also probably want to connect something like this, just for troop movement purposes. And the same sort of thing up this way. Make sure to get that last little bit in there. Cool. There we go. And we'll make sure to... There we go. Now we're in railroad build mode. That took a little bit to get that working, but it's fine. We'll move this on down like so and connect this in like so. There we go. And we'll just connect up over here. Should be absolutely fine. And we'll have this connect up. Oh, that did not go. There we go. We'll have this connect up over here. And finally, this will connect over here for this area. I do also want to run a connection about like that. Okay, that'll do. Now, as far as all of this up here goes, I definitely do want to connect over this way. There we go. Something like so. And then something kind of like this. Did that go? No. No, it did not. Oh, this is... Oh, okay. That's very exciting. Go. There we go. Now it went. Perfect. So down over this way, of course, we're going to need to connect in this guy. And then that'll connect up over there. We may as well utilize this little hook out that we've got going on and connect this in down this way. There we go. But as we get deeper into Europe, these provinces are going to get smaller and slightly more obnoxious to get this done for. We may do Europe in a more rudimentary fashion. We'll see. But there we go. We will bring this on in about like so. We probably want to line down the middle here as well. So something kind of like that. And then bring this in like so. And a line straight on down. Something along the lines of that. Okay, so that should be the Middle East done. Perfect. And that'll be absolutely great. So, next up is Europe. Which I think for purposes of this discussion, we will define, and this is, I think, never really a consideration for the border of Europe, but for purposes of this discussion, I think we're going to go all the way out to the Urals. And we'll call that Europe. And that'll just like follow this line here down to the Caucasus. Basically, and then just everything over here is considered Europe. So, as far as the UK is concerned, I suppose we could get a little bit done here. We could build one here, one here, one here, and like one up here, right? And that's basically all we need in the UK. So let's go ahead and get the UK done, since that's nice and quick. We'll head up over here, and then over this direction. Cool. So this is not going to be very extensive, obviously. The UK is, after all, quite small. And we'll just get that all set up. Something along the lines of this. We can connect this in here. This can connect over... There we go. Can connect over something like this, and then this can connect down to... That didn't quite go, but there we go. And then as far as Ireland goes, can we build across the... No, we can't build across this. Hello, console. So, oh, I didn't necessarily mean to close that. We'll just connect all of this up No problem. And we'll call that good for Ireland. That is there. Okay, perfect. So we'll call that good for the UK. As far as this stuff up here goes, we're just going to let that be supplied off of naval bases. I think that'll be fine. We could probably get more supplies out over this direction, but I don't necessarily care to. So I think it's okay. I do think that is fine. Apparently we have these railways being built. That was not necessarily my intention. I must have held control again. We'll move those down to the bottom of the priority. Perfect. And there we go. So, now we need to work on Europe proper. Are we concerned about Sardinia and Corsica? Are we concerned about this out over here? I doubt it. Yeah, I don't think we're concerned about any of that. I think that'll all be fine. So we're just going to hop over to supply hubs, and I'm going to do this in a quite rudimentary fashion. Nowhere near as thorough as some of the other locations. I'm just kind of picking spots that I feel are decent points for a supply hub. I clicked here, and the click happened here. That's exciting. And then we'll link these up in a kind of roughly, not really country by country basis, but like regional basis. So this is like Spain plus Portugal. I guess you could just call it Iberia. And that's what we're going to link up here. So that'll be fine. Again, we are doing this in a very rough fashion. I'm not trying to make this optimal. I'm just trying to make it so that we have, in the case of a war actually breaking out, some form of functional supply flow out in these regions. That's the primary goal here. So we're just going to connect this in over here like so. That looks good. And then for the time being, we can simply connect this in over here. Cool. Is there actually a connection here? There isn't. Let's make one. Cool. So now we'll need to make sure that these hubs are connected up, of course. And we'll just do this in like kind of a grid pattern like we have been. And we'll just set this up like so. Bring this over to here-ish. Boy, it really doesn't want to go in there. There we go. Zoomed in, it works fine. But I do want more of a macro view here, so hopefully we'll be able to make this work for all of these provinces. Pro tip, we can't. Okay, so we'll just chill around here, link these up. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. We just want to have some supply flow. And keep in mind as well, we can always motorize these. That's not a concern. We have so many trucks. Please go. There we go. We can always motorize this, and that'll be absolutely fine. So there will likely be gaps out here, but I'm not too concerned about it. Mostly just trying to get this done in a fairly quick manner. So we'll just connect this in over here. And as far as these railroads go, I think we'll just make a few vertically running railroad lines, something along the lines of this, and call it good. Okay, this can connect up over here, which can itself connect up like over here. Beautiful. And then this can connect up to somewhere around here. You can do it. Apparently you can't. There we go. Cool. It keeps trying to click on the icon instead of on the actual province, but there we go. We'll call that decent for Iberia. Beautiful. So next up would be like the France region. That's for sure. But the thing about that is, it is about time to put a cut in here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. We got a lot done in that, to be honest. So our logistics are underway in a lot of locations. Specifically Africa, the Middle East, Iberia, and Great Britain. So that's pretty good progress, all things considered. Looking at this, we are still building a lot of naval bases. I don't think I'm really going to let it run too long, or even at all, in between episodes this time. Our goal for the next episode is going to be to get all of Europe, and again, this is going up to the Urals, which is a strange definition of Europe, but it's the one I'm going with, all the way up to Europe, or all the way up to the Urals. I want to get those all done. And realistically, I'd like to get all of Asia done too. I don't know how realistic that is. I think we can probably do it. Probably. Yeah, I think we can probably get this all queued up in the next episode. So that'll be the goal. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, ALS Gamer, Kentuin, James, Shadowwolf, MLohan80, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Unisil, Kadra, Rogue Corvid, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video. And as always, I will see you all next time.